I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Monday, September the 20th, brought to you in part by Joplin Regional Stockyards. Here for the regular Monday feeder cattle auction, estimating around 5,000 head, which would be an average offering for them. Probably be a lot of unweaned calves in the offering. And you guys in the four-state area, if you're thinking about maybe marketing your cattle through Joplin Regional Stockyards, you want to start thinking about those wean vac value-added specials that they have towards the end of the year. They always have some right there at the beginning of December, but you want to think about arranging your marketing through them. Well, you need to have those calves at least 45 days weaned, so you need to be thinking about that. You need to have them on a vaccination program. They've got several different ones that you can choose from. But that's what you need to be doing, is thinking ahead of when you're going to market those cattle. And there'll be significant premiums on those cattle compared to short weaned or non-weaned calves that time of the year. But those are always good sales to be thinking about. Mandate repercussions is what I want to talk about to start off here on this feeder flash visit. And you know, we've come out here and President Magoo has said that he's just had enough and he wants everybody to be vaccinated, and he's going to fine companies that have over 100 employees if they don't get them all vaccinated and this and that. There's a certain amount of people that are not going to get vaccinated, and the harder you try to make them do it, the more they're going to resist. That's just the way it is. Well, so if he's going to be doing that with general public, that means they're going to force federal employees to get vaccinated too. Now, who all are federal employees? They include your meat inspectors, including in beef plants, your beef graders. You know, they do most of it with an instrument now or a camera grading now, but they still have graders there that are overseeing that process. You know, market reporters, like what I used to do. I was a federal employee for nearly 20 years there. And so now they're going to mandate that they be vaccinated. And if they're not by November 21st, they are subject to being dismissed. Okay, what could happen if we don't have inspectors in these packing plants? If we don't have graders to grade that for marketing purposes, or even reporters, especially for mandatory price reporting, but likely there will be enough vaccinated people to do that. It really doesn't take all that many to do the mandatory price reporting. But if you don't have inspectors in these plants, you can't operate them, can't market that product. And if you don't have graders to oversee the grading process, and it's mostly just on the quality grade now, like the Prime Choice Select grades there. But if you don't have those, it's going to disrupt processing, it's going to disrupt marketing, and it could cause another backup in these packing plants, which we can't stand. And you guys have known enough from these black swan deals, which this could be one, that your packing plants aren't going to take the hickey on it. You guys are going to take the hickey on it. The cattle producers will, the consumers will. And so that's something that we're looking at, and I don't think it's necessarily going to be a minor deal. I think it could be very significant. We haven't seen anybody talking about it yet. I'm talking about it here. It's something you sure want to think about. But this market is looking for direction right now. We don't really know. The board technically is oversold, so we feel like it could go up, but we just don't get that feeling. I don't get the feeling that the board's about to go up big. Unless we see something come out of left field here. But you know, I've talked to some of these commodity analysts, and they say, you know, most of the guys that they know that understand what's going on say you don't want to be caught short and you don't want to be caught long. So everybody's just kind of waiting to take a look and see what's going to happen. Now, we agree that we've got an opportunity for higher prices coming down the line here. The next 6, 8, 9 months, there's lots of opportunity for higher prices because our supplies are going to be down so much. We'll sure see it as we see how many cows that we've had to let go and how many of them have been harvested due to the droughts in those major production areas. But and we're also kind of just seasonally running that way. But you know, we've got opportunity to gain a lot of ground here. But if we can't gain any price in our fed cattle sales, I don't understand how we're going to take advantage of that. Guys have got to get together. They've got to get something done. We've got to get some of these things done with the truth in labeling, whether it be mandatory country of origin labeling, which they introduced a bill here this past week on, that we can get that back, or at the least that USCA or USA beef act there, where we can get at least truth in labeling that says whether it was a product of the USA or not. That could be significant. If we can get a mandated minimum negotiated cash deal, it could be significant. I've worn those deals out, but we got to get something going on there. If you guys indulge me a little bit, November the 20th or September the 20th, today would have been my father's 75th birthday. But as it turns out, he's been dead for almost 12 years. But that would have been a landmark birthday for him, and miss him every day. But I do feel like that every day on this feeder flash, he comes alive just a little bit in maybe a smart-ass comment or a tongue-in-cheek or something that I put in here, and that all that would have come from him as far as I'm concerned. But if you guys indulge me a little bit there, be a happy 75th birthday to my dad. Let's talk about your board on for the week last week. October live cattle. Monday was down $1.15. Tuesday was back up $1.85. Wednesday up a nickel. Thursday down 57 cents, and Friday down 80. With October live cattle futures ending the week at 122.80, which was down 62 cents for the week. December contracts down 70 cents for the week, ending at 127.52. Feeder cattle for September. Monday was down 205. Tuesday was back up 307, so very volatile early in the week, if you remember that. But then Wednesday down 55 cents. Thursday up $1.15. Friday down $1. Just whipsawing every which way. But your September spot feeder cattle futures, which don't have a lot of play in them because they're right here at the end, ended at 154.87, up 62 cents. And like I said, it's just trying to get jostled in there to where your CME cash feeder cattle index is. And like I said last week, just trying to back into a parking spot there to come to fruit or to mature, I guess is what you call it. October feeder cattle ended the week at 156.37, and that was down $1.35. So the only reason that we saw feeder cattle contracts sell higher was as your spot September is trying to jive right in there with what your index is. But October was down, and most of your other ones were down pretty big too. Corn ended the week at 527 and a quarter, and then like I said last week, your corn is going to end up right here through harvest somewhere between $5 and $5.50. We feel like that's where your market's at. It may move a little bit within that range, but it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 5.5. Your fat cattle trade through Thursday of last week, 45,600 head is all in your entire 5-area feeding district. So we'd normally see each of the 5 areas having at least 45,000 at least, but no, in this day and time, only 45,600 head for negotiated cash. Now, I've been telling you guys, I want you guys to understand that they are starting rapidly to increase the number of cattle. I'm talking about the packers turning in significantly more numbers of negotiated grid, and they're hoping that that's how they'll get around some of these mandated minimum negotiated sales quotas that are going to be coming one way or the other. They're going to turn in more negotiated grid. They can just tweak them a little bit, or just the way that they define those sales. They can just turn them in there whenever they turn in their mandatory information and make it look like there's a lot of negotiation, but there's really no negotiation in the negotiated grid. If you cannot turn that bid down, it's a take it or leave it deal. That's not negotiated, guys. It's just not. And you don't see the bids and the offers reported anywhere, so it doesn't aid the rest of the cattle feeders in trying to sell their cattle. So what the hell good is the negotiated grid as far as trying to arrive at a price and have price discovery and transparency in the market? It doesn't. I don't consider it negotiated cash, a negotiated grid price. I don't at all. And I coax all these guys that are in the know, and U.S. Cattlemen's Association and the other groups that are pushing for a mandated minimum negotiation, for it to be pure cash and not just grid. That's the way they're going to try to get around it. Let's talk about your prices last week on that 45,600 through Thursday. Live steers and heifers sold from 123 to 127, with a weighted average of live steers at 123.90. Dress sales from 196 to $200, and a weighted average of 198.67, which was lower. We did have a little dab of trade, but not enough to amount to anything. On Friday, Iowa had confirmed sales of 800 head, only 15,800 head for the week. 124, 124 and a half. That was about where they were trading for the bulk last week. Nebraska had a few loads of cattle confirmed on Friday. 19,300 head for the week, negotiated cash. 123 was the one price on Friday, and some more 196 to $2 dressed. And that's where they'd been all week. Kansas had about 500 head and 8,400 head for the week, all at 123 on Friday. Texas didn't sell any cattle on Friday, and only 3,800 head for the week. Dr. Kuntz and NCBA said that they needed to sell about 9,700 head minimum to have a robust market, and they're about a third of that. Box beef cutout values lower again, and packers are not happy about that, and they're offering a lot more product up on the spot market. We're seeing a lot more trade, a lot more loads moved on the spot box beef value market. Normally they sell those out front. We don't really get to see what the price is on them, but evidently they're having a little trouble selling that because they're offering more of it on the spot market, and it's at a lower price, and they're having to let those that, they don't that's not a negotiated price. They set that price just like they set the price on the cattle, but to get rid of it, they're having to lower the price. Choice cuts, your weighted average on all of last week's sales on choice, $320.22 last week. That was $12.24 lower than the weighted average from the previous week. Significant loss. Similar loss on your select product. Your weighted average was $12.14 lower than the previous week's weighted average at $285.34. And we got a pretty wide choice select spread of almost $35 on 784 loads of cuts, grinds, and trimmings. We've been running real light here pretty much all summer at about 400 loads, something like that. So, but they're just offering more of it up. Your slaughter actually turned out to be a little better than we thought last week, with that one plant being down early in the week and the fears of that. But 660,000 for last week. And that compares with 648,000 same week a year ago. Can't compare week ago because it was a holiday, but that's 12,000 more and a bigger Saturday there. As you can tell, I'm not at home. I'm out in Redmond, California, or Redmond, Oregon, and I'm going to be traveling east of here a little ways to Central Oregon Livestock. That's Trent Stewart's sale there. They got a big special here on Monday. It's a customer appreciation day. They got a big runaway up cows, and then in the morning, and then we'll start right at noon local Pacific time there on about 3,000 head of feeder cattle. Be mostly calves there, but there'll be some outstanding consignments there. You can view and bid that sale on dvauction.com, and I'm going to be selling there a little bit with World Champions, which got no business in there with them, but it should be a good time. Going to be giving a presentation there before the feeder auction, so hopefully have a good crowd. They got a free lunch there, and looking forward to Monday at Central Oregon Livestock. And talking about DV Auction there, where you can watch that sale, if some of you guys that are in the know have a sale barn and you've considered having DV Auction as your internet broadcaster, or you already have them, but you would be interested in having the automatic bid. Some of you guys know that some of our competitors, like Cattle USA and LMA, they have an automatic bid on there where it just flashes. It's basically somebody flips a switch over here and a light comes on over there. Where DV Auction has always been to where we wanted somebody to recognize that bid so that the buyer sitting at home could know that somebody actually saw his bid if the auctioneer was not communicating really well. So you know, it's a comfort. You're sitting at home and you're bidding on cattle online. When you click that and they recognize that bid, and then your console says you are in, so you feel real comfortable where you're at. But as things have evolved and more people are buying cattle online and getting used to it, it is a little quicker and a little more seamless if you just have the automatic bid. It's just the guy bids and it flashes. The auctioneer takes him and goes on, and nobody has to man that post. So we do have that option now with DV Auction. So if you guys are interested in that, some of you guys that are DV Auction broadcasters, you've been waiting on that, we do have that option now. You can do either one. You can do a manual where there is recognition for the buyer at home, or you can do the automatic. So that's something I've been pushing for a long time, and we've got that option now available. So I'm happy to offer that. Let's talk about your feeder market and your sales late last week. Your real-time index on DV Auction ended the week at 150,253. That was down $1.49 compared to the end of the previous week. Your cash feeders in your sale barns were kind of steady to $4 lower for the most part in your sales last week. Calves, very uneven. It's still hot, you know, in the daytime in a lot of places, but we are starting to see lows. I talked to some of my friends in Montana and up there in the northern plains. They've even seen light frosts already. So as we see these big spreads in the temperature, we're going to see these calves really starting to have a lot of problems. So your unweaned calves are already getting severe discounts. I noticed that selling at Nevada Livestock Marketing on Friday in Fallon, Nevada. The calves that were at least 45 days weaned, they just found so many more friends than those short weaned, even 30 days weaned, or especially less than 30 days. Wouldn't even tell a guy you wean your calves if you wean them less than 30 days. It's got to be 45 and more. You know, 90 days would be better. Of course, it's better the longer you do it. Make a yearling out of them is better yet. But we're seeing severe discounts on your calves. You can sell some long strings of ranch calves if they got a good vaccination program on them. You can sell them closer to the market, but it's just very uneven depending on what the offering is on your calves right now. Look at some of your sales around, some representative sales. How about Fort Scott Livestock Market in Fort Scott, Kansas? There on Saturday, sold 175 head of 925-pound steers at $146.10. That's a pretty good price there. St. Onge Livestock, my friend Justin Tupper over there, he's continuing to see a lot of light peewee calves. He had strings of 3 and 4 weight little steer calves and heifers, and they'd be ranch raised. They'd be unweaned, of course, because they haven't had time to do that. Normally they wouldn't come until the middle of October, and they'd probably be 200 pounds bigger, but there's just a lot of those available. If you guys are interested in some of those, you sure need to get an order in there at St. Onge Livestock. But the best quote that I saw on his light calves, new crop calves, was 85 head, 519-pound steer calves, bring $187. That's a pretty respectful quote right there. Friday, where I was at Nevada Livestock Marketing in Fallon, Nevada, I sold a string of steers there, 56 head, weighed 873 pounds at $146. That'd be pretty good for the desert way out west. How about your best quote that I saw anywhere on late last week? It was on Friday in Lexington, Nebraska. It's your Zach Tran top quote for the day. Lexington Livestock Market, 186 steers, weighed 881 at $159. And that's your feeder flash for Monday.